Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue on with this week's theme of short songs by checking out two songs less than 3 minutes each from a band. Today we're going to be checking out a band called This Town Needs Guns, also known as TTNG. We checked out one of their songs on the recent live stream, but it was an acoustic version off of this album. I don't remember what animal we checked out, but it was an acoustic one, and I was interested in what they do normally when they're not making acoustic versions of their tracks. So it's interesting that today we're going to be checking out two songs off this album, the first one being Crocodile, and the second one being Dog. Alright, let's get into this, see what's going on. Yeah, so we have a 4, a 4, and then a 2. So maybe alternating 4 and 6, or maybe 5, 4, just with very specific accents that make it feel like 4. Yeah, real gorgeous melody here, and I love the way that the vocals are playing off of the guitar. Yeah, the drum is mostly altering the feel of the track.
Comforting and holding you. Your eyes are light, they've never shined so bright. For just 1 second, I'm lost in you. I promise I will not see out this night without comforting.
Interesting harmony there, very quiet falsetto.
Your eyes are light, they've never shined so bright.
And there's some vocals going on in the background too.
I'm lost in you.
Okay, 10 seconds of silence there at the end. So the song has a very simple structure of A and what I would probably call A prime, which is a small variation on A. We have vocals, drums, and guitar. In the pulse of the section is 4/4/2. However, there's many ways that one could write this. We could actually write 2 bars of 4 and then a bar of 2. That is going to get a bit hectic on the paper. You could also write a bar of 4 and a bar of 6. However, the 6 is going to hide the intentions of the pulse. Usually with 6, we're going to emphasize 1 and 3. Whereas here, we would be emphasizing 1 and 5. The other way to write it, which would probably be the most simplistic, but would also not exactly pass on the information from the composer to the musician, not an issue in this case because the composer is the musician, but we could write it in 5, and it would be 5 all the way through. There would be no shifting time signatures. However, our accent beats would be 1 and 4 of bar 1, and bar 2 would be 1 and 5 of bar 1, and then bar 2 would be 3 or 4. So yeah, 1, 5, and then 4. So definitely does not follow any standard pulse of a 5/4 meter. So the purpose of putting the time signature there, well, there's two purposes. One is to help sort of organize your notes so it doesn't look so freeform and you can, see a pattern in it, which is where the 5/4 makes more sense. But another reason is to inform the musician or the conductor, somebody who is not the original composer, of the sort of feel of the song. And that's where the 4/4/2 writing would come in handy, because it could emphasize the downbeats as the pulses that need emphasis. As for me, like I said, there's benefits to both ways. Um, they fill two different roles, and I don't really see a way you could write this where both the pulse emphasis of the passage and a nice way of organizing the notes are going to fit well. You're either going to be alternating time signatures, or you're not going to be, relaying the information of the feel of the passage to the player. But as usual, when it comes to rock stuff like this, um, you don't have to worry about that too much, because the composer is the performer. They already know how it's supposed to sound, how it's supposed to feel. And it's quite possible this was never even written down in any sort of metered notation. It could have just been riffed out, and then the riff was memorized by the guitarist, and the vocalist and drummer just kind of felt out the pattern and played within it. I suppose there's even a chance that they don't know that they're playing a 10 bar phrase, or sorry, a 10 beat phrase that can be broken up several different ways, and it just feels good to play this. It feels natural to play it. And that's really cool too, because normally we associate 4/4 with natural. We have so much music written in 4/4, especially in the modern day. But there's always, I find, those odd meters that just kind of fit real nice. I could just be noodling around and I'm like, man, this sounds great. And then I go to notate it. I'm like, this was an 11/8. This did not feel odd at all. This just, I perfectly fell into this groove. Why, why is this such an odd time signature? So, like I said, they could just be, if this came off very natural to them to write like this. So there's that interesting little tidbit there about the time signature. The music itself, there's not really a lot going on. The guitar utilizes the same chordal structure for the entire song. There's two sections, though. It's basically two fairly similar riffs that kind of change up its rhythmic structure. And then the vocals don't really change much from the first and second section. However, we get additional vocals. We have what I think is a quiet female vocal that harmonizes with the primary male vocals. And it kind of makes me think it's falsetto, but it's definitely a quieter, airier sound. So that's what leads me to head voice, but it's very possible that it's just a very airy chest voice. And then we have these spoken word stuff going on in the background. It's very quiet. I didn't pick up on that. And then the drums we see having a bit of energy in the first half, and in the second half they kind of rein it in a little bit and allow the section to have a bit more lethargy to it, I would almost say. It still has a bit of direction thanks to some of the guitar work and the vocals really taking over with the three layers there. But the drums sort of let the song rest and relax and calm down a little bit. Contrast to the first half, where the drums had a little bit more energy and provided a bit more of this almost like a static metronome feel, driving home the drive and the direction and the speed a little bit more. So yeah, that's it. Assuming we're going to get into Dog next, we're going to see how that goes. But assuming that this is their typical stuff, I can see why they would make an acoustic version. The song is already very acoustic adjacent, and it would not have been a lot of work to turn this one into an acoustic song. Alright, so now we're going to move into Dog. We're going to see what these guys are doing here. Oh, this reminds me, I forgot to talk about the guitar work on last section.
So come on, let's chase these memories away. Drink the night into oblivion.
We're in 11 now, and the last one was 10. Are
I've been watching you. I memorized every last line of your profile, every shade of your complexion, every tone of your
I love that really fast
skin.
bass drum kick at the ends, right there, the end of every phrase. Yeah, what a fun guitar line. Yeah, the bass coming in a bit heavier here than last song. Really laying down a bit of a groove that this song desperately needs, given its really disjointed feel. The odd time signature plus the odd rhythmic aspect of the guitar. Oh, there's some fun chords. Drummer just killing it back there. So yeah, that's an interesting inverse on what we just checked out, which was a song that sort of started larger and brought it down a bit. Also, they have so much ending time, so much silence at the end of these tracks. I don't know if that's just a YouTube thing or if that's the same way on their CDs, their vinyls. Last track had 10 minutes of silence, and this one was probably close to 5. Just a lot of lead out time. All right. So very cool stuff. Definitely in the math rock area. Let's see. Yeah, I forgot to talk about the guitar work in Crocodile. And I mentioned it was two rhythmic ideas that were playing off of very similar chordal structures, but I did not go into some of the technical aspects of the guitar playing, and I'm glad they brought this back in the second song. Maybe this is just their style and all their songs like it, but it reminded me, I was like, yeah, I need to go back and talk about that. I need to bring that back up because the guitar playing is very impressive from a technical standpoint. There's a lot of interesting tapping going on. There's some interesting rhythmic ideas. At least in this song, I'm pretty sure there's some sort of triplet structure going on in the middle of what sounds to be mostly straight eighth notes. And it sort of plays around with this disjointedness where we kind of get in the groove of this rhythmic idea in the guitar, and then they shift it to a triplet, which makes it feel like it slows down a little bit before bringing back in those straight eighths, and which makes it feel like it speeds back up. And it's this like rubber banding into guitar work that is only further emphasized by some of the rhythmic ideas going on in drums, especially in the last quarter of the song when the drums really started to open up. I mentioned that the bass was starting to be a little bit more prominent in the mix and that it was necessary, and I mean that for groove wise, because the song really starts to get a bit disjointed rhythmically. It's already in an odd time signature, being 11. Could be 11/4, could be 11/8, but we have an 11 beat phrase. So that's going to introduce some oddities right there. That doesn't break up very evenly. At least when we had 10 in Crocodile, even though that they were breaking it up a bit unevenly with that 4-4-2 idea, we could still bob our head in 5 and line up on every other bar with the downbeat. But here, you're going to be lining up for a while. Yeah, assuming we are going to count it in 11 and give each bar 11 beats, it's every 2 bars, but we're still talking about quite a bit of time. 2 of those repetitions feels like quite a while before you can finally get back and synchronize your downbeat with the emphasis of the downbeat of the musical phrase. So the groove really helped you find that way to sort of, bob your head along or move your body along with the music. And I don't know if the bass was just not present in the first one or if it was a mixing thing. I honestly didn't even hear it until the end, and even then it was a bit faint. So I do kind of wish the bass was a little more present in both of these songs, but I'm glad that it was given a little bit more spotlight there in the second half of Dog, because the song desperately needed that element of groove, given that it was wildly veering off the road rhythmically. This song is structured very similarly to Crocodile in that there's 2 halves of it. It's sort of a very muted song. It has a similar atmosphere to the first, being this light, uh, bouncy math rock kind of stuff, drum, bass, guitar, and a very soft spoken, like mixed voice for the lead. It doesn't have any aggression to it. It is very much a laid back track, other than the rhythmic complexities that pop up in the guitar and drums. Interestingly, though, I did say this is the inverse of Crocodile, where that got quieter in the second half. This one got more outlandish with that drum solo coming in and the more technical guitar part in the second half. This does make me wonder about the rest of this album, though, because it's not too typical, first of all, to see a 10 and an 11 time signature in a song that features short tracks. It feels very intentional. And I'm going to look this up right now to see what's going on, because I have a theory that each song is given a larger incremental meter. And I would wager that Crocodile's the 10th track and Dog is the second track on this album. And I would be wrong. They're actually flipped. Dog is the 10th, even though it has the 11 meter, and Crocodile is the 11th, even though it has the 10 meter. So, okay, I was wrong there. That was my hypothesis, though. Interestingly, though, in the US, it had a different track order, including 2 tracks that had nothing to do with animals. But my idea doesn't line up with that listing either, so... Huh. Well, there goes my theory. I was going to be real intrigued, wondering how they were going to write a 1-1 time signature. But after that, I think it would be really cool to see them move through them. Maybe into a 2-4, 3-4, 4-4, 5-4, 6-8, 7-4, I think would be more interesting than 7-8. 8-8 is 4-4, so that's going to be kind of boring. 9-8 would probably be more standard, but 9-4 I think would be more fun. This, let's see, Dog was in, well, 10 would have been 10-4, which is what Crocodile was in. 11 would have been 11-4, which was what Dog was in. 12, we could get into 12-4, but I think 12-8 would be cooler, because that is... Why do I know 12-8? 12-8's a standard time signature for a type of music, and I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. I want to say some marches are in 12-8, but I'm only like half sure on that. And then 13, It don't matter. 13/4, 13/8, I don't care. It would just be fun to have a 13 beat phrase or even a 26 beat phrase if we could turn it into a 2 bar phrase. Be very lengthy, but it would make the song feel very unique. Anyways, I've gone off on a tangent. None of this is applicable because apparently my hypothesis was wrong. Anyways, um, but I do think it's very cool that we're hearing these odder time signatures back to back and sort of in this experimental mode where they're not building entire songs, they're not looking to follow any sort of defined length of a track. These aren't, 3.5 minute typical modern song structure where we have verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, which typically means we have much shorter sections. They make these 3 minute songs and they divide them in half, and we get a good minute and a half to a minute and 45 seconds of really digging into these specific ideas, and then we see a small variation on it. It is sort of a deep exploration of what seems to be their style in specific time signatures. And it kind of would not surprise me if they do sort of still apply this multiple time signature idea because I feel like it just fits very well with what they're doing. Where each song is sort of a different time signature, and we can see how that fits within short tracks and how they can. Well, they're not all short, are they? I guess I just got to listen to the album. I have a lot of ideas about what they could do and maybe where they could take it just hearing these two songs and Lemur? I don't remember what we checked out on the live stream. It might have been Lemur, but it was the acoustic version. Anyways, I'm also seeing this was their first album, so that's interesting because they didn't go very standard. Like I said, they went outside the box, at least with these two tracks, assuming they're indicative of the rest of the album. They are taking a single concept and making an entire song out of that, kind of exploring it in a standard and then an inverted way, or I don't remember what I said, an alternate idea of that base concept. And I think that's really cool, especially with their knack for musicianship. Both the drummer and the guitarist are, dropping some really cool things down, both mechanically, just the way that they are performing and the way that they're, are combining all these different ideas. The guitars are doing the tapping and all of that stuff, very modern, mathy stuff. And the drummer's just introducing some really interesting ideas as far as what instrument to hit and when, and the way that the timbres all play off of each other when they put them together in a pattern or a run or a fill, whatever you want to call it. And they just have a really unique sound here, applying it to different ideas. I think that's phenomenal for a first time band. I don't know if this is their first band. Maybe each member has been part of other things. Maybe this was a super group that came together from a bunch of math rock musicians. I don't know. But for a first album, assuming that this is indicative, I'm sort of blown away by that idea that they went so far outside of the box. And really went into sort of an exploratory avenue rather than just creating music typical for the genre. All right, those are my thoughts on TTNG's Crocodile and Dog. Yeah, if you have any information about this album, let me know. The wiki was sort of enlightening in that my hypothesis of track listing being indicative of meter being wrong, but let me know if they are playing around with meter with each song, because that's kind of the hint I'm getting here. Though it could have just been the two songs that were picked. The rest of the album could have been more traditional. But yeah, let me know about that kind of stuff. How close am I to that idea, the concept of the album, so to speak, the musical concept. When you're done commenting, you can head up to the description box. There's a link up there for Linktree, which is a nice menu that combines all the stuff related to the channel into easily clickable buttons and icons. You can check out the Discord channel, the Patreon, Twitter, submit your own special selections, all sorts of stuff. It's all there. Above the description box, you can like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC. as we finish out this week's new release. Nope, not new. We finish out this week's short songs. Right about next 5 minutes, I guess. Today's special selection is going to be released. You can check that one out. We'll be looking at a 23-minute song. If that interests you, make sure you tune in for that. Until next time, remember to be critical but not cynical of the music. And have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos. Dang, I messed that one up, huh?